Now live. Dungan dun dongans. With at were Chipper. Indeed, it is the Wushepper. Oh wow, stream elements. So blank is now streaming blank. Well done, stream elements. You've won today. You don't even know who I am. I could be anybody.
Where are you?
I'm behind you.
XYZ coordinates.
0, 0.
Okay, next.
No, that's it. I'm in the middle. Right in the middle.
Oh, I'm on the way. Maybe Mum started gardening recently. Unfortunately, with this house, we've got a front, back, and side garden to deal with.
Ooh.
So it's a lot to work with, and honestly, we just let it get overrun because it's not causing any damage. But we figured recently it'd be nice to have somewhere to like go out and have a sit down. We've been putting in some effort every weekend. That's how I fell out of the wheelbarrow.
Oh, poor Shipper.
You really had it coming. I don't know. Just a little guy.
It's a small guy.
Just a little guy with a mortgage. I got a house and 2 kids to take care of. I am just a little guy. I can net tricks into the next biome, but it kind of dies out here. I'm not immediately on board with the idea of a PvP style extraction shooter from my favorite developers.
Yeah.
Honestly, I gotta trust, because like they keep delivering some quality experiences for me. You know, I say this in the Bungie creating Marathon recently. Or at least they are creating Marathon. Like, I'll probably play it, maybe I'll even enjoy it.
Well, it depends how much is on the PvP side of it.
I hear there's PvE elements too. Like, you'd hope so. Okay.
And also, I've never heard of an extraction shooter before. Mm,
It's the one where you drop into an area, you loot it, and then you get the fuck out of it with the loot.
okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be sort of on the sort of style of the Hunt Showdown. So multiple teams go in, do the things, get the fuck out while surviving, and then being the ones that win.
Yeah, I
That
don't
makes a
think
bit of
it's about
sense.
winning. I think it's just about, like, you get out.
Well, yeah, if you can get out with at least something, you get bonus.
You've won. I'm like, I'm neither here nor there about it, you know? I don't hate it. I shouldn't be surprised that Bungie decided to do Marathon as their first sort of game stepping out of things. It was a pretty big deal back in the day. Bungie even makes a couple of references to it in Destiny. It's just a cute sort of old shooter, you know how it is. They call them boomer shooters these days. Kinda love the term.
Yeah, whenever I hear boomer shooter, I just assume they mean a shooter for boomers.
Yeah.
Which I also find hilarious.
Where you go around shooting
Shooting.
millennials.
Oh, please aim at me. Please aim at me. Get rid of me.
No nihilism.
Oh, nihilism all over the place.
Don't nihilate. Stop it. Yeah, I've never played a game like that. I guess the closest experience I ever had is being like raiding Dark Souls.
I did play Hunt Showdown a couple of times and it was okay. The problem is that the people I was playing with kind of like were like they were well versed in the game and I was a noob at it.
So you
And
just end up feeling like a kind of dick.
yeah, so I ended up feeling like, you know, they would teach me as they're going along off. I just felt like it really seems like they'd rather I'm not here so they could play the game properly.
I get what you mean.
I mean, it's not like I've never played shooters before, but like at least with Hunt Showdown, there's a bunch of like, you know, don't shoot these things because they, you know, they were really hard to kill, so you want to do this to get rid of them, and yeah, make sure you don't make a noise. So you can't sprint, you can't do this, you can't do that. Because it's a very noise based this Hunt Showdown. So as soon as you hear a gunshot, you know where it came from. You can pinpoint where the enemy players are. So like, don't shoot unless you definitely have to.
I've been in situations where I've been like playing games with people, and it's become like readily apparent to me they want to like speed through the game their way, and they're really used to it, and like they just don't want to teach me like the mechanics. And it's like, I guess we're not playing this again together.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you invited me, but what? Yes.
I mean, I'm all for like, you want to show me your favorite game. But I mean, it's one of the reasons why, you know, I would like to play Factorio with people, but I really like Factorio, and so I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's not a good plan because I'll be like, oh, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, and it's like when we were playing Satisfactory, I was very much like, There's a few things that I can do that, you know, will just be helpful, but for the most part, I will follow what your plan was. Because I've played a lot of it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let Sheepa build his ramp to the sun. Because it's funny.
I made it.
And you did. You got to a point where, you know, you started to suffocate. Because you got too high up in the air.
No.
Yeah.
And its big problem is just people so keen to show their passions are, but like less keen to demonstrate their passions. Like I've probably been that too. Is like I've been pulling people into video games, being like how I play. I'm like, well, pretty self-evident for them. It's like I'm not good with those kinds of things. But like. Hi, LW Sheeple, what do you? How you doing, gorgeous?
You sat in the air, I smell.
Hi, Cornico. I'm not good with conveying your emotions. Your brain, your dum-dum. I see. I'm just hyper super.
I just noticed a very silly thing. VTube Studio is not open on my end, so my face is not there, and also my reactives are not on the art layer. Browser.
10 out of 10 spicy pad thai? That's what they used to call me.
Want
That means.
cheaper reactive.
I would have told you if I was watching twitch.tv/Chirioni. I mean, I'm lurking. I'm always lurking.
A sheep is always lurking. And now, gonna just like. Oh god, he has a knife.
Yeah.
Got a knife?
He's the patented Kaneko gremlin.
Oh yeah, I've got one too.
We will be rocking the patented Kaneko gremlin around these parts. Okay. I have no idea how to do a cliff. I'll come back.
Oh.
Trying to get a harmonizing going.
No, I just got my music playing in the background.
Can you think about what the salt trees would look like?
I have been trying to think.
I was thinking they'd be like monolithic white borders. Make them go like either really thin or like really wide.
All I know is that
Seal long legs.
they're gonna be like, if anything, they're gonna have very small leaves. Because one of the big things about this place is that everything's going to want to retain as much water as it can.
Yeah.
And so the leaves are going to be small because they're going to be trying to stop as much transpiration as possible, which is like the water evaporating out of the leaves. So smaller leaves means less holes for the water to escape from. So we're talking probably like pine needle type leaves more than anything.
Is it a mod of who's key?
Just imagine an entire forest of League of Legends players, and then you've pretty much got. And to petrify you, we've got the that's what the long legs are for. Because they just.
Hell of, like petrified stuff as this like biome continues to grow. Like this is kind of like the final frontier of witchy, crazed, disgusting eldritch bullshit. For now. Like Chipman's cave is the one cave that turns fabric to stone. I don't think I've heard of that. I like the idea that the trees are like still alive. If they bend, it's only very slightly. And maybe like only the top bit is where the leaves are. And I imagine the leaves are a very satisfying greyish white. You literally just have the A59 in it.
In it.
I wouldn't know it was. Cheaper doesn't get out often. I like the idea of something like this as the train. Like central mast branching out bit at the top. And then like these little white holes.
It could be. We could take some of the inspiration from that one weird island.
Which weird island?
I don't know the name. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. It's literally the entire island looks like it's from an alien planet because it's so cut off from everything else evolutionary wise. Everything looks wrong. You can tell it's living, but it looks off because the colours aren't right.
Weird. Cooking scenic roots reduce competitive surface area? You're good biologist, you gotta help me.
Socotra. Hang on. Actually, most of the water is not near the surface because there's very little rainfall. We'd figured out that the way that these trees get water is from underground water channels that come from the sea. And so they have very deep roots.
So, what's happening in a geographical sense is a lot of water is moving through here underground, and like specifically like cutting across here. Like there are a lot of underground rivers. I just realized how kind of fucked up it is. But like, Dwarven civilization is going to see the breadth of this kingdom as its home for like eternity. You'll have dwarves who are gonna like travel as far as they like humanly can, you know, and they're gonna reach like the salt forest, and they're gonna find it such an alien place from the rivers underground of their home.
Yeah, and just think.
They're gonna realize that the forests are the exact same as the roots they used to harvest.
Yeah.
Maybe they will find that out. But yeah, these trees sort of like form a canopy overhead. I reckon.
Yeah, so it actually provides shade to things underneath it.
Yeah, and it helps that you can't see like the long legs moving. those not in the know, we decided that we decided that these two mountains would be like the center of like a dwarven feud, right? And aside from them, you'd have like some dragonborn down here who would probably play into like the great battles that'll go on and like the history of this area, and Kenku up here. But mainly we have these two sort of dwarven factions who eventually like they're gonna become like timeless enemies, I reckon.
It's gonna be one of those like feuding clan things. There's always those two clans that are like, you know, both of them seem to think the other one has wronged them, even though it never happened. But over the generations, it's just like, yeah, it's like, you know, it starts off that, you know, they just didn't like each other because they were taking each other's stuff, and then like 10 generations down the line, it's because they used to steal our children for like workers. And like you never trust a North Caver. Jeez, never trust a North Caver. Do you know what they do to their animal? Do you know what they do to the food? They don't cook it. They just eat it raw, like savages. And meanwhile, the ones in the North Cave are saying the exact same thing about the South Cavers. It's like, oh my god, they don't cook their food. They don't use salt. How do you not use salt in this place? Basically making it out like the other is just some weird, strange tribe that should never be trusted. When they're both the fucking same. If there was water in the air, yes.
The way I can like picture this in my head is it's like when you look up in the salt forest, you're looking at like if you're near like some trees, you're looking at like tumbleweed. Like it's this mesh of like very thin like vines. Like maybe the trees like learn to hold each other's branches up, so when the wind blows through, they can be thin but like still sturdy.
I mean, the thing with rainforests as well is it's kind of in the name that once every day for like 2 hours it fucking pisses it down. Like torrential rain. Which is also one of the reasons why it's so wet. Yeah, the leaves of the rainforest are made so that the water doesn't stay on the leaf, because otherwise it will make the leaves rot. That's why they all have like weird pointy tips so that the water can drip off easily. That's the opposite of what we're thinking here. This place is not going to have the rainfall. It's not going to have rainfall because these trees are not going to want to let go of any of their moisture if they can help it. So the only way the moisture is going to be taken away from the tree is more for the things that are drinking from the tree. So I'm thinking that that's how most of the animals, like the squids and the ants and so on here, are going to be getting their water, is that they're going to be biting into the tree, getting the xylem in there, and then just drinking the water and the sap out of the tree itself. And then any condensation that is around is just going to get absorbed into the salt on the floor. Because, I mean, it's going to just sort of desiccate the air because of how much salt there is. At least that's how I'm thinking of it.
I'm just a map artist, don't ask me no questions.
I don't do shit.
You do a good job.
I just exist.
It's good enough for me.
I exist for the purpose of biology humor.
I'm a biology joke.
Um, I can't remember any. I did know one a long time ago.
It's a question.
I did know one a long time ago that was about a rabbit in Australia, but I can't remember the full joke. It was one of the long ones with a really dumb punchline that most people wouldn't probably remember about because it's from like the 90s.
I got one about rabbits.
They're horny.
You you're about the rabbit that attacked
Oh, this one.
a barber.
Yeah, I hear it was hair raising.
Pretty bad hack that. I like the idea that you can even visit this place and think it would, if you just like had a flamethrower turret mounted. But then even then, you just take a walk through the fucking salt forest. You step on a fucking rotting piece of bark. Your leg finds the ends. They kill you. This place is just awful. This is like one of those places you get sent when you're a fucking horrible person and die. You know?
Be keeping an eye on my chat just in case anyone does pop in. Yeah, that's the one, Kaneko. Kaneko's in my chat. Kaneko's remembered it. Mixing my toasties.
I walks into a bar with a pint of beer and a cheese and ham toasted. Haha. I'm saying we can't have a hill or two in here. What in goes now? Your rabbit no dear. Forget your toasty. Aw. The rabbit eats toasted peas and leaves. Aw. Yeah, this joke isn't gonna be worth it, is it?
Well, no, because you probably don't actually know what the punchline's based off of, but let him cook. Let him cook.
I think Neko Cook is like a 50-50. One day he might make the fucking patented Kaneko brand, but the other. Bang next day orders a pint of beer and cheese and ham toasty. Bartender goes, now you're effort, not be able to get your toasty. Gerard eats the toasty face and leaves. was a toast. And it comes back again the next day. This woman must have been very suffocated. There's a pint of beer and cheese and hand toasty bites and huh? Huh? Yeah, we get it. The rabbit keeps fucking coming back. But walked up to the lemonade stand too. That activated some like fucking sleeper sound song at you. That comes like the next day. Says, "Mary rabbit, no beer. I have no ham. But I can do you a cheese and onion toasty. Rabbit agrees, eats the toasty, pays and leave. This is a very civilized rabbit. The rabbit never comes back. Good. 50 years later, the bartender dies. Good. Had it coming. Goes up to heaven. Who's he see there? His wife and kids. Papa, I've missed you, they say.
I hate that I'm going to have to explain the punchline of this one.
The rabbit, he asks, what happened to you? And the rabbit goes, I died. Mixing me toasties. Was that it?
I'm going to have to explain the joke, aren't I?
Yeah.
Back in Australia,
Never been.
once upon a time, some idiot released a few rabbits. Rabbits did as rabbits do and fucked. And unfortunately, there was nothing that really knew how to deal with rabbits. They had no predators that knew what they were, so they just expanded and ate fucking everything. And naturally, that's a bad thing. You know, invasive species. You want to deal with them. And so the government came along and were like, right, we've got this virus called myxomatosis that only targets rabbits. Let's release it. And it kind of, yeah, they biologically warfared the rabbits. But the entire joke of it is mixing mitosis is myxomatosis. And that's what killed the rabbit. The best one is the one with the cane flies. They had a bunch of flies that were eating all the sugar cane. And so some bright spark was like, hey, cane toads, they eat cane flies a lot. So let's bring them over. Because that way, yeah, they have a cane toad infestation now, but the worst thing is that cane toads don't even really like eating cane flies when there's better options. So the whole thing they brought them in for, they didn't really do in the first place. And so, yeah, now they're dealing with them. They've also got the issue with cats. Cats are non-native and murder a lot of things, which means they fit in perfectly with the rest of the Australian wildlife.
Talk about how fucked up it was when they just dropped fucking what's his face? Metal Gear Man. Like, right, I'm screen for.
Oh yeah, when we'd spent like the past 15 seconds looking at ants and we're like, oh, is this that new like ant colony game? It's a bit weird that Sony are putting it on their fucking showcase, but you know, good for them, good for them. And then suddenly it's fucking Metal Gear.
I thought they were gonna do like and then the best predator of them all, man. And it's like, wait, that's not just men. That's not just men. Hey Zoshi. Good evening.
Because like we started with just a bunch of ants. It's like, okay, these are really highly rendered ants. They've got to have done this for a reason. And then the ants get dealt with by a toad, and then the toad gets picked up by a bird. It's like, okay, has one of the ants sort of like caught a ride somehow on this thing and it's going to escape, and then no, it's just suddenly fucking Snake.
Like some really highly detailed cutscene of just fucking the animal kingdom doing what it does, and like a man, and it's like, oh man, and it's fucking Snake's fucking him. Honestly, PlayStation kind of fucking blew it out of the park with this one.
You see,
Bungie was a good call for them.
there was one really big problem.
Uh-huh.
No Bloodborne.
It'll come. Welcome to the Salt Flats, chat. Part of a ginormous world that I have yet to build. Will well note here that I have started making mountains and then stopped. Because I thought it would be very easy to make this forest, which, granted, I was right. Once I got the tree shape in, it was a pretty simple thing. Thank you for the follow gift, Gabby. Welcome on in. Isn't the gift of Gabby the ability to talk really well?
Yeah, that's Gift of the Gab.
Oh, okay.
Close.
I thought you played what you want. Doing pretty good. Yeah, I hope you're doing good too. I definitely don't have the gift of Gab. I have the gift of stupid baby boy. Stupid little puntable gremlin. Every time I see one of those new Twitter trends hopping around, it's like, I want to get involved in it, but at the same time, I don't. Because they're always still like copy-paste.
The only Twitter trend I need to get on the hang of is actually fucking making Twitter posts to say, "Hey, I've gone live, guys."
Yeah. That's a reference to the gift of Gab pushing me. Ace Bright E? Yeah. We're doing a little of the work in our D&D world today. Welcome to Azeroth. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Blizzard Activision, I know what you're like, but please don't sue me. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the cozy little art vibes, Gab. We're currently trying to iron out like the Salt Flats biome. If we were smart, we really would have started this campaign off at like some very neutral ground. We're starting at like the most insane late game area we can think of. You love Ace Bright? I'm really fond of it. I didn't think I'd get too into art when I first started, but I kind of have a knack for a little bit of Ace Bright. And Paint 3D, I'm really good at Paint 3D. Not to toot my own horn, but I can work with that program even when it crashes when you paste something into it. I think it's the second item you paste into Paint 3D crashes it. picture of the brushy little baby trees. This is a hellish biome. It's not fit for anyone to come to. The salt flats. Don't come here.
It's basically what they have on their tourist brochure.
We have giant spiders as tall as the trees that will swoop down and eat you if they detect you're edible.
And trust us, you are edible.
Yeah. Once they've got a taste of your flesh, they will hunt you like wolves. Oh god, that's horrible.
I can.
And if the spiders don't, keep an eye out for tree squids. Haven't developed psychic powers yet, but I'm definitely planning that later down the line. Lol.
Oh god.
Like once like the world evolves enough, I want like there to be some sort of incursion where it's like every other fucking tree squid you see can like fucking levitate rocks and throw them at you. And if the tree squids don't kill you, keep an eye out for giant hills that move, open their maw, and eat the landscape occasionally. That's land whales. I feel like we should rename those. We've already got land squid, we don't need land whale.
Well, I was calling them salt squids.
Yeah, salt squid is that one. Salt whale doesn't work because, you know, they're already kind of like that. What about the whale worm? I was also playing Battlefield 1. One of the first games I ever streamed.
I am already really regretting the cursed shit I've brought onto this world.
In case you want to see something horrible, check out Cherry's stream, who is currently making the long legs, which is the creature that will eat you and hunt you like a fucking... It's a disgusting creature.
I've been playing with body shapes.
I wish Marla and Ginger were here right now.
Yeah. I mean, Ginger is green on Discord, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's available to be dragged along for stuff. I know he had to disappear after something earlier.
That's just the way of Gim Gim.
Sadly, yes.
I really like the salt forest's like horrific beauty. Oh, it would be so hard to like try and be like a fucking plant collector or something, and you just
Oh man.
and you wanna like you're like I want to take a sapling home with me. It's like you can't fucking grow this shit anywhere but here.
Like literally, the only way you'll do it is if you just have a bucket of salt.
A bucket of salt,
Just entire.
like a fucking kilometer deep.
Well, no, basically, the only way you'll be able to do it is having bonsai versions of the salt forests. It's the bucket of salt with a bonsai tree in it. Oh, that just. I can just imagine a baby long legs in there as well. That looks like it's an adult, but it's actually it's just like really young. Like they've made a terrarium out of it. Not really. Like they're just like they've only found the baby and they're like, oh look at this small spider, and they've picked it up and they've took it home.
Be a month to get that calm. Imagine a story, right? Where it's like you've arrived at the local town where just here's a curse is afoot, and there isn't really a curse. It's just like they think there's a. And what's happened is some local rich person brought back
Yeah,
And
and
it's just going in the town eating people.
it grew too big, and so they just threw it out, thinking it's going to die.
But now it's just eating the local town.
Yeah, and they're like, oh,
Beautiful bird.
yeah, is that a Finian Femaris? I
How
spy?
many Pokemon go? I saw a while ago stream metaphors on. Well, wouldn't it? No, but like I like the idea of one of those classic like early 90s like tropes where it's like you have to return the thing to its native home, but like that obviously isn't going to work.
Yeah, it's like you can try, but the easiest way is just to kill it and forget it ever happened.
Like what happens is the players take like the husk of this creature back, like they take its shell back home thinking the shell is cursed. But then when they arrive back in the village to report that they've taken it home, like it's dead. There's webs everywhere. And maybe by that point in time the creature's dying because it's like not its natural habitat. Yeah, Finn, I hope you had a lovely stream. Thank you so much for the rating, and I hope you enjoyed the cozy little vibes. Even as we talk about the most disgusting concepts of creatures.
Until that.
Expanding a little bit on that, I'm doing the salt first, and if you switch over to Cherry's channel, she's currently making the disgusting fucking creature known as a longleaf, which is about exactly as you'd expect it to be. We're making this. We're making the whole universe, Finn. Didn't I tell you about that? Something I'm really excited for is I randomly started doing this with Ginger at one point. Like I want to make a prehistoric like D&D set. Like Ginger.
Is that a gingham snap of the boo I hear?
Ginger. Ginger, can we tell you about like a quest idea we just came up with? Kind of fucking cool. I guess not. Hey. So, me and Cherry were thinking, right? You know, love like. I'm not party Ginger's was never one. So maybe. So we feel like propose a quest where eventually it's got some great process in the future, like say a local place. Um, takes the babies back, think that it's like adult specimen, and then it starts growing out of its control.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So the quest is this small town is now like these rich people they kick the thing out thinking that'll kill it, but it just starts like killing the local.
It basically becomes an invasive species.
Yeah, your party rocks up to this town, and they like see all of the killings and stuff, and then they like find out. They find out, oh yes, this local lord is responsible. They unleashed this horrific creature that they found without knowing what it would do. And so like, this lord has fully convinced themselves. Like, also Cherry, I like how you're making it a lot longer. I really like that. That's hard.
Well, this one was the juvenile. This one was the juvenile with the small legs.
This rich person has themselves convinced of some sort of local level they have where, oh, I accidentally took home a shell and now it's unleashed a forest spirit on this place. But no, it is just the long legs. And like the trick is, if the party doesn't catch this ginormous spider thing and stop it at its source, they might get gaslit into believing that this local legend is to blame instead. So they're gonna go through all of this extra effort to like take this artifact back to the place it was as some form of like offering back to the land, only to get back home and find out that this spider has eaten everyone.
Yeah.
It's a fucking horrible quest. I can't wait to put that shit in.
basically tranquilizing it and also by giving it like food and like wealth. So it's a super horrifically obese red dragon that just keeps getting bigger and stronger because they keep giving it more food and more wealth to keep it docile. But they know at some point it's gonna grow beyond their control.
Oof. It's like it's kind of great for the situation, you know. Like it's just one of those big things where it's like a machine that helps us is slowly going out of our control. You can't work on the concept art of closing of different regions in your world. That's something that like I'm going to be very interested in when we
I
get
wish
around
I
to
could
that.
do that. I wish I had the patience for that.
Give it a try. You never know.
Is that the point where you say, Cheery, get out all the fucking books on fashion you have?
Cheery, give me your goddamn pastels.
It's not even that. We have to like figure out what materials do these like areas have.
Right.
Well, things like we.
Like dwarves of the salt flats, right? They have to fucking stitch like bark together to get by right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was the bark. There was the kelp from the inland sea that we figured that they were going to use. They would get that. They would like beat that up and use the fibers from that because you can make fibers out of like stinging nettles, and so we figure probably do that with kelp as well. So they'd go out and like harvest a bunch of kelp, bring it back, dry it out, beat it up, get the fibers out, and then use that to make their fabric.
Yeah.
They would have whatever they've managed to kill. Like I imagine that salt whale skin would make some pretty goddamn strong leather.
yeah,
Here's the thing: it's
some
probably
poppy
really
leather.
dangerous to like try and peel it off of like salt whales.
Well, yeah, it's going to be one of those things that they you're going to have to be the first ones to the corpse.
Have you seen Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, William?
I haven't.
There's these massive creatures in it that are called ohms. And I imagine when one dies, the response of the dwarves is similar to the response of like the survivors of that apocalypse event, where they're just like, "Oh my god, if we manage to like harvest this entire thing, we won't have to worry about making tools for like eons, essentially."
Yeah, I like the idea that in the interim before that happens, they have to like the salt whales or whatever we're gonna call them. Like they sleep a long time, so I'm thinking like dwarves just go out and carve into them, like strips at a time, like while they're sleeping, and it's like an ant biting you in your sleep.
Yeah, like if it's bad enough, it'll probably like roll over or something. That's pretty much it.
Fucking crushing. Yeah,
That's what you gotta worry
like
worry about.
it's
Is
an
it rolling over.
occupational hazard. Oh yeah, I was really interested in the concept of the birds in this place too. Like birds migrate, but these ones they probably only stay around. You know, like they hang around just lurking, watching, waiting,
Do you think
hungry.
they'd be vultures? I mean, they have to be, right?
They're like a kind of vulture. Well, except they would be kind of like an emaciated version of that terrifying bird that looks like a puppet.
Oh, the weird horn. Yeah, the hornbill one.
Yeah.
You know those things are like totally harmless to humans, right?
Yeah, but they look off.
Ones.
The real ones look off, and so we want to have that weird them looking off being they look off for a reason.
I
Yeah.
love them.
The feeling of looking at one of these, it instills a horror that you don't quite understand why until you see them in action.
Like maybe eventually when explorers come here from like the Arakocram lands, they hear like tale of these birds and they don't have much to go on, but then they like look on them and like an explorer dies of a heart attack, and then that like in the archive of time ending of a heart attack, but the death's glare.
The death's glare.
Like, if you get a druid to like listen to the fucking bard, it's gonna be like the only voice is gonna be saying is, "I can't wait until you drop dead. I'm going to feast on your corpse."
I'm not
Will
going to kill you,
satiate.
but when you die, I will savor your meal.
I will enjoy the taste of your entrails. And like it just stares, like still, like a fucking statue.
That's probably how it stays like blended in, right?
Blending in, yes, but like it's kind of a ballsy creature. Like it doesn't attack people, but it doesn't care to like feel threatened. Like it does a lot by like it's fucking mental. Like if it can intimidate you off.
Right. Trickery and misdirection and just confidence is this thing's weapon.
Oh god,
It can like bat its wings and maybe it makes like a horrible creaking sound or something.
I'm having a bit of a reaction to this thing.
Do you like it?
I do not like what I've created. I do not like what I've created.
The long legs that you're making?
Yeah,
I love it.
The adult
I love
one?
it.
yeah.
Where's its mouth?
Yeah.
I haven't got that bit yet. That essentially we're gonna have the eyes are gonna be sort of down here, and the mouth is gonna be under here. It's gonna hang its victims with web.
I like the idea it's almost like
We're basing it off the Harvestman, so it's not quite a spider. It's an arachnid, but it's not a spider.
Shemaine's said one.
what if it has like an almost emaciated human face?
Oh. Oh, but I say, what if that's not its actual face? What if that's just a thing it's developed over the years? It's just a thing. Yeah, and it's just for some reason that's why it's realised that, you know, if something looks up and sees a face looking at it, it's gonna run away. It's not gonna stop and work out what's gonna fucking go on. And it's a perfect way. Yeah.
Uncomfortable. We've created something really bad. We've created a demon scarier than anything in the Bible.
Oh yeah, you weren't there for my stream yesterday, did you? So, this thing, it lays about 200 eggs in a little sack, and it carries it around. When they hatch, they climb onto its back, and just stay there, and eat the fuck out of each other, until only the strongest 10 survive, and then those 10 run down the legs and go off on their merry way. If they don't consume the parent, it's one of those, you know, if the parent seems weak, they will consume the parent and then go on their way. Yeah, arachnophobia warning.
I feel like this would be a great opportunity for the dwarf as well, because I don't know how strong or hardy long legs are, but I imagine they could really use them to make like support
I imagine
going on with my game.
I imagine they'd be very. It would be like very good, like for tool shafts of tools. Like, you know, if they're gonna make a new pickaxe, if they happen to find a discarded long legs limb, it would be really strong chitinous stuff that they could work into tools.
If they're not gonna use it to make like hand tools with, like, especially like the part of the leg, you can definitely turn that into a support picking.
I can kind of see it. But I get the feeling that like a lot of dwarf culture would like make these things just like a cursed entity. Like there's a reason the dwarves went underground, and it wasn't just the Ice Age.
Well, it could be that these are the things that, like the, I mean, Woody mentioned something. I mean, I have it. I've kept it on a different layer. But Woody thought of the concept yesterday of what if Rat King but long legs. Yeah, like a necromancer comes along and just staples a bunch of long legs together for some fucking reason. But if necromancers, yeah, but if the necromancers are willing to do that, then they're probably gonna like make their staff out of a long legs limb and things like that.
Do you know what's crazy about like? So I'm thinking like, if we ever went with like a necromancy type thing, we could just do like essentially the fungus zombie for the long legs.
Oh, that would be
I thought of something crazy about this. Like when that actually happens to that ant colony, like there's two guards that are outside the entrance to the ant colony, and when they sense that one of them is infected with the fungus, they will essentially tackle it, force it to like walk like miles away from the camp. They'll cut its head off, and then both of the guards will kill themselves.
Holy shit!
yeah. That's what happens.
You guys gave me a splash of inspiration just then. I know we said we'd laid out the gods already, but I really like the idea because you know how there's like a massive mycelium network beneath the ground right now.
Yeah.
What if that existed in the real world? What if it existed everywhere? And what if it was constantly like make mushroom like incursions like that? Like every so often a mushroom virus pops up because this thing forced its way above ground. It's like the god of the plant, the god of mushrooms, the mycelia is like, it wants us to belong to it.
It's just a mushroom from Dark Souls.
I don't know, I just like the idea of like this fucking god of mushrooms down there. It's like the god of the dark forest. It would kind of be like if a warlock is a dark
Warlock's
priest.
like a man witch, right?
No, I always thought of a warlock as more of a dark priest, right?
Could be that, yeah.
But if a warlock is a dark priest, then it would be like a dark druid stereotype that's like, instead of worshipping the forest, we worship the mycelia.
Yeah, I imagine that'd be the drow and whatever the name of the dark dwarves are.
Because we do have like the idea of a mushroom biome. Like maybe this is somewhere that like this thing has breached the ground already. Oh my fucking Christ! Hold on.
So wait. Now you just got me some inspiration.
Look at this. Right?
Look at what? Wait, I gotta pull up your stream on the phone now.
This was the big plan, right? Was I basically like sped through this area, but like I had an idea for like a giant plant here. What if this is a plant that sort of like it represents like the spirit of the forest, right? And like this is mushroom biome right next to it. This is a fucking war between nature.
Life versus decay.
Life versus decay, the mushroom versus the forest. It's a parasite that's no longer having a beneficial relationship. It's here to
Consume. Do y'all know about that giant algae flat that's like miles long, and it's basically like the largest living organism in the, like the history or something like that?
Yeah, I know there's like massive mycelium networks under like Redstone Forest.
yeah, that's creatures are eventually like wise to its shit, and anytime they like tunnel into it or something, they're like, okay, burn it. It's like, to start with, this thing is like really strong probably in prehistory. Like people don't know what the fuck it's doing. People see like the living start going weird, and then like attack people. They'll make pleas to the forest, they'll make pleas to the sea and the fire, and they'll get the same answer. It's just kill the mushrooms.
That might spill over into dwarven culture, right? Because one of their main sources of food is mushrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, they even make alcohol and this stuff.
Maybe there's like, because I don't imagine this mycelia is like a god, but I do imagine that it's an incredibly higher being. I think it's sentient, I think it's sapient, and I think it can exert its will to like change things. I think it can listen anywhere that it wants to, really, by just like sneaking a mushroom, like growing into the walls and stuff.
It's like the grave mine from Halo.
It's everywhere. It's like just a hive mind, I imagine. Like eventually when you get like a cognizant enough like affected individual, they'll start screaming like, you belong to us, join us. Join us in the forest, go into the forest, sacrifice yourself. Let your blood spill into the red dirt.
Spill into the red dirt. That's. I'm scared with what we're able to come up with in our brain.
I kind of like the idea that we're making the world so inhospitable now. And everything's only going to become even more hellish as like we reach the Ice Age. Because remember, the cat god hasn't arrived yet. How is it going to mutate the spiders?
I
Is the cat god gonna mutate the spiders too?
It's gonna mutate everything.
Everything.
It wants the.
It's just gonna like create servants for itself and then like go from there.
I think the whole
Everything.
it evolves everything to try and create the ultimate gladiator on the planet. It's gonna wait till there's only one thing surviving, and then take it for itself, make it immortal,
Oh shit. Okay.
and then use it in their version of Ragnarok.
I got the vibe that this cat god was gonna be more like fast. Now it seems it's gonna be more like segment.
Hi, Faisy, welcome in.
Cat gods in general. It's like they have these massive sort of like space pyramids. They're flying around like worlds, like looking for like, does this one support biological life? And if they find even so much as bacteria, they fall asleep in orbit, and their like influence just starts like evolving the life on the planet. And it evolves and evolves and evolves until like you get like humans, and you get like post-humans, you get these giant fucking gnawing teeth monstrosities. The gnawing teeth monstrosities eat each other, they eat all the other they eat everything. There's only one creature left.
Oh, you made me think of there's a Greek monster in Greek mythology. It was in the Odysseus or not Odysseus? What is it called? The book that Odysseus was in. The
Odyssey, yeah, Odyssey or the Iliad, one or the other.
Yeah, he's called Charybdis. He's basically a stalactite, but underwater, and he basically swallows the ocean, spits it back out.
Is that how they discovered the geothermal vents?
Maybe.
Crazy.
I have created art.
Created a monster. We're creating monsters.
I've given it a sense of scale.
No longer convinced that this is just D&D prehistory.
This is D&D horror.
We actually have created D&D horror.
Did we go from making a D&D clone to a Call of Cthulhu clone?
Oh god, prehistoric D&D Cthulhu. Neither am I.
I'm not against taking this in a completely like horrific turn. Like
I mean,
I want society to form breakfast. I want to see this world.
yeah, I like the idea that this like
There's too many generic fantasy settings. We gotta make this fuck.
Yeah. I'm 100% on board.
The way I made my setting fucked up is there's a hundreds of thousands year long war going on that nobody even remembers how it started.
I'm fixing it.
I just like that this little maybe this thing is probably like the size of a mushroom when it's a juvenile.
Yeah.
You got this little tiny like little.
And it will grow into the forest. It's a lot of like visual and visceral horror right now. I like the idea that we can substitute some more like very subtle things though. Like take horror into a secondary direction, like not just big monster, but like something that tells a story. Like when we end up like if we ever make it to like the modern age, when that fucking god of like bureaucracy I'm talking about exists, you can make that a really cold, uncaring narrative about like human suffering in the face of like numbers and shit. Like that can be like a genuinely like fucking. It could be like a travesty.
The inevitability of nature. No matter how amazing your technology gets, nature made this.
Some sheep once told me
And
the
then we
world's
can have a
sheep.
whole bunch of like. I feel like the way that hippie culture gets propagated in the modern day is with these like
Nihilism.
nature loving. What now?
It's got to be nihilism on that part because nature is only existing in this universe to kill them.
Well, there can also the other ones with like nature can be better, man. Like the fucking beer bowls and gnomes.
Yeah. Like you can find a peaceful goddess of nature, but like even she's probably gonna demand like sacrifice from time to time. Like the gods are cruel. I like the idea that they're kind of like Norse gods of which they're like the fucking tip of the hat assholes.
Tip of the hat assholes.
Yeah. Like I don't remember what it is, but I remember there was this like old game where just the story was basically like a Norse god's torturing the main character for no other reason as they can.
What was one of the stories in the where was it? The Prose Edda. Odin and Freya were talking about their favorite kings, and Freya was like, "Dude, your king is their guests and like murders them for their stuff." And like Odin was like, "No, dude, I like look, I'll prove it. I'll turn into a random noble and I'll prove to you that you're wrong." And Odin went down to meet his favorite king, and his favorite king immediately tortured him, not to death because he's a god. So he's just stuck down there being tortured for eternity, quote unquote. And the king's son keeps going down there to give him water and stuff, and in exchange, Odin keeps telling him stories. And eventually, Odin's like, "Well, okay, I like the cut of your jib, kid. So I'm gonna kill your dad." And he like immediately turns into like his full godly form, ices this kid's father, and then makes him king at like the age of 12.
And then Odin goes home like, yeah, you're right, you're a pig.
Yeah.
Tortured my ass.
I hate it when you're right, Freya.
But yeah, I'm fully into the idea of making this just horror. Horror incarnate. not just a hard world to live in.
How do I get out of here?
Me when I see the long legs.
Me when I hear the long legs.
Oh yeah, you hear first. And then like you see its horrible, fucking horrific face staring down at you.
Just immediately, how do I get out of here?
Oh man, imagine if Dorothy explores this in this universe and she's just like, here's how you get away from a long legs.
Hola, soy Dora.
Can you not
Can you
camera?
say, let's leave the cave?
Hola, soy Dora. Can you say skitter noise?
Can you say, don't look at its face?
Can you say, don't look above you? Can you say, eyes in the darkness are one of the worst signs you can imagine?
Oh god, I just hate the idea that these things want to be looked at before they attack you.
That's why the face. That's why the face is on. That's why the face is underneath it, because it knows you're going to look if you notice it.
What if it was able to make a noise that sounded like it was saying, look at
Help! Look at me.
We already have that in some part.
me? I
Ooh.
think we do. Yeah, it's the fog. There's a
Oh,
fog creature.
Yeah, the fog creature that's the mimic.
Like, the fog creature is like the most simple of the horrors. Like, it is a bunch of floating, like, sandy-looking parchment, vaguely assembled around what could be a humanoid shape floating in the wind. And when it touches you, it starts draining your moisture until either you're dead or it satisfies the result.
Wait, are you talking about the salt monster or the fog monster?
The fog. Oh, that's the fog monster. No, I was talking about the salt monster. It's probably who wails about like, I need water, etc. Or like it fills your mind with the ideas of dying from thirst. I want to fill this world with monsters. I want to make this world impossible to live in. I want the players to manage it. I suppose like adding all of these like features in for like games. It'd be nice to have like settlement features. I mean that could be really interesting. Like once we have all of the like classes and stuff sorted out and you can put like D&D settings in there. Just make it so like there's a form of like implementation in place for like building up your own settlement.
There's no stuff. I'm not doing that.
You know what the luckiest part about the long legs is?
You die quickly
It does not have its effects.
until it does.
Oh, okay. Now, here's something we should discuss. One long leg meets another long leg. What do they do?
It's definitely gonna eat after it falls.
I was gonna say, oh my, okay, alright. We're on the same page. They immediately try to fuck each other.
Yeah. It's like this thing wants to like survive. This thing has the survival instinct to breed. So it immediately like fucks its partner. And then like the female will eat the male.
Do you think,
And the cow will
okay,
like
do you think they have genders, or do you think they're asexual, and whoever loses the fight is the one that, like...
that's quite old.
They're like that one. They're like that one slug. They both have both sets of genitals, and whoever wins the genital joust wins the right to breed. No, that's what they do. There's this type of snail that they will essentially fight with their penises, and whoever wins jabs the penis into the other one, and makes them the girl, and just like fertilizes them and then fucks off. I don't mean to say that I've peaked, but I think I've peaked.
I gotta swap back over to your POV.
Yeah.
Oh my fuck! What have you done?
This is what we call the cave painting you stumble upon.
Yes.
Painting. Oh my god. It's perfect.
What you like stumble ashore. Your boat has been shipwrecked. You don't know where you are. You like find shelter in a nearby cave and you find this. But you think maybe it's some bizarre god for people nearby. I'll find hope if I find them. Then you hear the skittering.
I just got a chill down my spine when you said that you hear the skittering.
That's the point.
Aren't you? You can't do anything. Like the only way you can beat this is if you're a D&D party. If you're a D&D character, you can do turn-based combat. But this thing, lore-wise, this kills everything. It's apocalypse.
Baseline stats for most peasants in this game.
Food. What are the stats of a potato?
I imagine it's like 8s and 9s across the board.
8s and 9s across the board. I'd say like 10s, because like this is a time where people have to be very manual. We've become crafters of horror.
As somebody who hates the horror genre, I don't know why I'm like
Well, you're into this.
good at it, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm good at it. I would say that I'm intrigued or adept, maybe adept, passionate. Let's go with passionate.
The thing about horror is it's best when you can control your feelings for it. And when you're fully in control of the horror experience.
I don't want to be scared, but if I wanted to be scared, this is how I'd scare myself.
Yeah. Imagine a scenario where like the people of the Salt Flats like a still tribal society when like a colonial force rocks up to them and they're getting interrogated like, what do you mean the spiders of the forest? And like the people panicking like, we need to get inside and seal our doors with rocks, you don't understand. Like this is a genuine horror story waiting to be written.
The dwarves know about it. When they get a feeling like in the air or the sand that something is like off or like otherwise perturbed, they get the fuck out of there.
The Kenku would be very like adept at like hiding against the spiders. They've got like massive cliffs to hide out on, for one. And like I imagine the cliffs have a lot of caves in. Chewy, that thing that you're doing right now.
Yeah.
That is the perfect teaser image.
You like legitimately, if you can actually make that into an art piece, like that'd be great.
Like that's a fucking Trevor Henderson level monster.
I'm gonna frame that and put it on my wall.
Like that evokes unusual draft. You know what you had to say in that end?
Who's here to see about it?
Trevor Henderson is great. Trevor Henderson's pretty good. He's like a little inspiration for me a while back. Well, like I get the feeling what we're gonna do here might even topple him.
Oh my god, no! Don't make promises you can't keep.
Not topple him, but like in my head, what we're doing here is gonna be better. Like I would feel like I've succeeded. Them. This art project, once it's like fully off the ground, and the best part is you can play it. It's like, oh, you want to go through like a fucking campaign for this fucking hell? Okay. Make a character.
Pay $10.99 for the book.
I'm charged for it. I don't want to charge for this. You know, like so much D&D stuff is so like money gated. We could still spend bits entirely on it.
Yes, I think it's probably a good idea because that way you can add in what you want in. You don't have to be bound to existing lore. Granted, you might need to remove some of the more obvious this is a D&D races and like replace them with our own new ones.
What, like how in Warhammer, dwarves are called squats? Or I should preface by saying Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like dwarves are dwarves either way, and dwarves are not a D&D thing, so we could still have dwarves and it wouldn't be a problem because, you know, dwarves are a mythological creature, as are elves. But say things like, you know, yeah, the ones that are very specifically this does not have an element of mythology to it. This is made for D&D. We can't like say, oh, we just went to the inspiration of a giant and we made our own version of a giant. That's simple enough. We can't say, oh, we went and found the original Aarakocra mythology, because there isn't any.
I think it would be very wise to separate, like, ourselves from D&D, so that we're never in a position where, like, we get cease and desisted as well. Because Wizards of the Coast sent Pinkertons to a guy's house for receiving cards early.
They sent the actual Pinkertons.
They sent the actual Pinkertons. The guy got a Magic the Gathering cards drop early, so they sent the Pinkertons to his house. At which point he was allegedly correct. So yeah, I'm like down to rework the entire D&D system. Just to add a lot of manual hours onto this stuff.
I have other games that don't abide by the D20 system. There's other gaming systems. I forget what it's called.
Well, the thing is, if you wanted to go more on the horror thing, you've got stuff like the Call of Cthulhu systems
Yes.
that we can look at.
There's also
It's a little complex. You have to roll D100s at a time. This will use the 7D20 system in like one's called Guts or something.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. I mean, I think the one that I know of is GURPS, which is an old one, which I think was open source even back like when I played D&D like a decade ago. It was like general user roleplay system or something, and it was like designed that you could just use it for whatever.
stress the player too much on like following strict adherence to guidelines and such. That's plus still one. I think it's free though. Yeah. Well, at that point in time, we can just tag our streams as tabletop RPGs instead of D&D, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right now, we did base this around the concept of if we do create our own like TTRPG, can we call this shit evil?
Why?
Shorthand to evolution, because we're watching the world evolve, characters evolve, setting evolve, powers evolve. But like, I kind of want something that captures its more cold, uncaring side too.
I'm trying to figure out the rules that a certain playset use because it seems interesting. Like each dice is for a different like stat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find it.
We could code in adversity straight into the like narrative. Like built into the system from the scratch. No one owns adversity tokens.
Yeah, that was a homebrew thing that was put into D&D because people hated the idea of inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Adversity is just really good though.
I also like the idea of just calling them grudge tokens.
Yeah, after the Warhammer.
Okay, give me 1 second. I gotta charge up my phone and then I'll explain this.
Marla is gonna throw a fit when this gets posted.
Yep. Marlon knows what he's in on. He has no idea what he's in.
Marla indeed knows what he's into.
So I was trying to look up the rule set that the Dimension 20 campaign Misfits and Magic used, and it's based off of the Kids on Brooms rule set.
Uh-huh.
So the Kids on Broom rule set has 6 stats in the game, which is Grit, Charm, Fight, Flight, Brains, and Brawn. And each of those 6 stats, you assign a single D&D die to those stats, which gives your characters an extremely distinct like way of how you play them.
Oh, so like you'd put like the D100 against one thing, so you had a really good stat if you had that, but then the D4 was your dump stat sort of thing. Is that what I'm thinking?
The GM sets the difficulty for the roll, and the player tries to meet/beat that number with their stat die.
Hey, dummy mommy. Well, come on in. How you doing?
I'm just trying.
I'm in a state of abstract horror.
I'm trying to think. The way it sounds, Ginger. I mean, I would like say you've got 6 stats, and we have 6 different. So like D4s, D6, D8, D12.
Yeah,
D12, D100.
10, 12, and 20.
Okay, and then so you like you add like say you could say right you've got your strength stat you if you want to be a strong character you add your D100 to that because that means you can be really fucking strong. But if you want to be dumb as fuck you put your D4 on there because you can't roll for shit.
So yeah, if
sort of thing.
Your archetype or like your best like I guess stat to be like fight or what's the difference between fight and brawn though?
Fight is probably for combat and brawn is probably just generic strength. So Why not?
I don't have a lot of room in my. I get you. Definitely something we're gonna have to think about now. Now that we've decided to cut ties with D&D, D&D is over.
I just had to. I had to just mention I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah. I posted the mostly finalized thing.
I want to write a story about this creature now.
Tabletop RPG. Yeah, OBS, I'm aware that I have updated my stream info. Now please get rid of the green box so I can type into the title box underneath you. There we go. There we go.
Yes, severing ties with D&D franchise is probably because I'm so down to make this like a big thing.
I mean, especially with how they've recently acted with their licensing stuff.
Yeah.
We do not want to give them any traffic. They need to they need to learn what they've done. But now to undo a bunch of this stuff.
Oh, that forest is looking nice, man. Put the shading and everything. Look. It's got different edges.
I'm in a secret place right now.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at what series making.
Wheatcraft horror.
We do.
Do other things, but we'll kept horror.
Now that I've actually saved both the cave painting and the painting on the cave, I can do a few undos and go back to where we were. Clickety 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 click.
I'm a writer.
You can't write if you. I mean, are you really writing if you're not in a coffee shop with your laptop?
Typewriter.
Oh no, taking a typewriter to a coffee shop is a little bit pretentious.
Wearing a turtleneck
If you bring
and sunglasses
fucking
indoors.
loud ass typewriter to a coffee shop, someone's gonna spill coffee on that shit
Right.
accidentally.
Yeah.
That's not
You take your laptop. You wear your you wear your white turtleneck, and you have the sort of like the combed back. I'm trying to think of what I don't know what the style of the hair is called. Like, literally, you know, when you just literally comb the hair backwards and you've like gelled it, so it's like a weird like wave at the front. Yeah,
a greaser from the 1960s.
but yeah, and then you have like the shades on, and you're just sitting in the corner typing.
It just seems like you're cosplaying it. What the hell? Oh, there's just a weird pop up out all of a sudden.
I hate how there's 4 people watching this madness unfold on my stream. Well, currently, technically, they're watching an ad, but you know. But still. I just love and hate the idea that these things, once they've caught you, they might not necessarily kill you straight away, because obviously a lot of spiders will paralyze you to keep you fresh. They web you up and hang you underneath them. How long until you die? Is it until you starve or until you dehydrate?
I was gonna say, like, if you're lucky, 3 days.
Depends
Well-
if it hangs you upside down.
True. So it's probably going to hang you head side up to keep you alive as long as possible. It's literally going to be walking around with you underneath it, and it's going to be using its weird little grabby hands to pick pieces off you when it's hungry. And so either you'll go, if you're lucky, you will die of dehydration first. If not, you're going to be dying of blood loss, as it just rips parts of you. Although to be fair, it'll probably end up ripping a leg off and then just like sealing the wound with web, and then carrying on its merry way while it's just having a feast on your leg bone. No, with water, you can last about 3 days if you have no water or no fluid whatsoever. Food, it depends how fat you are. Average person can last probably about a month. Fat person like me could probably last a good 6 months as long as you had water. But that's in plain normal conditions. Like, that is like if you're in England. So not too hot, not too cold. And yeah, it's not like extreme temperatures. If you were in a very dry environment, such as the salt flats, you're going to need a lot more water. So you're probably going to last maybe a day and a half without water. Just because the nature of it being such dry air. Unless the webbing is waterproof and it keeps moisture in, because that way it just keeps you fresher for longer, I don't know. That would be even crueler.
On the subject of needing, like, basically body fat in order to basically survive without food, there's a show called Alone, which is like basically like a survivalist stress test show where they take a whole bunch of people and they isolate them in certain areas. The one that I watched was they were in like the Alaska wilderness, and the dude who got second place in that show basically only got second place because he was essentially obese.
Yeah, it's like surprising how, I mean, I think the, give or take, it's meant to be a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. It's obviously, it depends on the kind of fat and several other factors, but that's like the average guesstimate. So if you've got like 20 pound of fat on you, that's 70,000 calories. If you use 2,500 a day, that's going to last you a while. If you have 150 pound of fat on you, you're going to last a lot longer, assuming you can get the minerals and water to survive long enough to utilize that fat. I mean, the longest I've gone without food as a test for myself was I went for 5 days just having water. And I was fine. The only reason I stopped is because you just start like just getting bored. And you're like, I just want something to eat. But yeah, if you're fat, you can, like, people have done this, like, water fasted for like a month, like 28 days. And it's one of the ways that some people try and lose weight quickly. I mean, partly is one reason I did it. It is insane just how, like, adaptable the body is. I mean, I think during that week when I didn't have anything, I lost like 5 pounds. I was using like a pound of flesh per day, essentially. Which is way more than you would normally need. But your body doesn't realise that, so it just starts... When you've got so much of it, it doesn't try and sort of limit itself. It's like, oh, we need food. Just take as much as you can, and you drop quite a bit. It's only when you start getting to like the 20%, 15% fat limit that your body starts slowing down and going, oh, hang on, maybe we should like hold back. We're running out of supplies here.
Yeah, it's when your body starts to subconsciously go into like panic mode that things start to get a little bit bad. Oh, holy hell.
How long have we been going? God, how have we been going for almost 2 hours?
I'm in a place that's filled with death plots. Play Fall Vegas. I'm at that mine that has all the death plots in it, and I'm glad from this position I was completely fine. I killed like 2 death plots, and then other death plots showed up.
You killed 2 death claws and then saw the other 20.
Yes, exactly.
Standing behind you, looking hungry. I wonder, do we? Do have it installed? Can I remember how to use it is the question.
Oh, he found me.
Your window capture
Oh god.
works. Me?
I accidentally just unleashed a horror.
What have you done?
I got inspired by what Shiri made, so I wrote a piece.
You wrote a piece?
I wrote a little thing. It's a nihilistic, horrible thing. Expanding on this thing is fucking terrifying. It's actually a lot more interesting having this continent of time in North and South now. Like, the way it is going to interact and like have horrors brought into the world.
Did you ever come up with another version of the drill series?
When you say version, what are you? Are we talking like?
Like they had like different forms.
Oh, I'd not really. I'd not. Yeah, I'd not really gone that far. I think the only two that I'd done anything with were the basic ones. So we've got like the worker and the the work. Well, there was the worker that was filled with water, and then there was the soldier that had the drill face. No, I can't. Yeah, the soldiers were. I can't remember if it was the soldiers that had the drill face or not. No, it was the workers that had the drill mandibles because the soldiers were. It was the weird way that the soldiers had to feed the drill ones, or the.
It's like a reversal.
Yeah, it's that sort of weird bit. Fine. Amazing how much of Blender I remember after not touching it for years. Granted, I was never that great with Blender, but still. Blender's free, unlike Studio Max and Maya. Those you pay a lot of money for. Mm. Hi.
Hello. 3 NPCs when they walk in a room.
You come to the Cloud District often. Who am I kidding? Of course you don't. Let me guess, someone stole all of your personal items off your body whilst you weren't looking, because you're a stupid guard and I'm a pickpocket.
Let me guess. Somebody threw a bucket over your head.
Let me guess. Somebody unfucked Christmas turkey.
Huh?
No, they didn't. They didn't do that at all.
Damn. We just need rudimentary. Ow, ow, ow. How's that? Thank you for the follow, George. Welcome
Are you
on in.
3D modeling that jelly bean?
I've played D&D before. In my goddamn life. So this is interesting. See, we're not technically playing D&D either. We make it a D&D universe right now.
This isn't your average everyday world building. This is advanced world building.
This is Chewie is using that like weird shit that you learned back in university.
Yeah.
It's not Octodad.
And I'm just making a map.
And I am
Use some
here.
so make a little thing like this. Is this A-Sprite? Yeah, this is A-Sprite. It's my favorite little art program. I love it. It's done a lot of good.
I can't even say things apparently, so I'll just shut up.
Ginger is our history expert.
Am I?
If I'm a fucking biologist, then you're a history expert.
Can I have an actual Bible, like a story?
Cool. So crazy you can't read that. That's completely understandable. I get not wanting to pay for an art program.
I mean, as far as
I think that was like a free example of A-Sprite.
art programs go, A-Sprite is relatively cheap. It's only what, £20? So like $25, $30. It's like, I mean, look at what I'm using at the moment is Blender is free, but Clip Studio I think I dropped like 200 quid altogether for the license. It was like 120 for the first license I bought, and then they updated it earlier this year, and you had to either carry on using the shitty old version, or you could upgrade the license for like £80 to get access to all of the new stuff for quite some time. And I was like, you know what? Program's good. I have the money. I can go for that.
What, A-Sprite? Bless you.
This is why I don't talk.
Considering how much I'm trying to use Clip Studio, the money is worth it. it's actually, you know, an investment into a skill set.
One day I hope I'm rich enough to actually be able to get into using Adobe programs. You know,
Can you not modify icons anymore?
that's what you mean.
Because I remember there being a super massive hubbub about Adobe making every single program icon the exact same color.
Oh, I didn't know nothing
So
about it.
yeah, that was a really horrible thing that they did, because now everybody is like, if Adobe is basically your livelihood, you have basically every single program open at the same time, and you can't very quickly look down at your hotbar and see what is open or what tab you have based off of the color. They're all the same color now.
Do you have any other good old context ways? I swear that was one I used to.
JonTron fixed the whole thing though.
I used Graphics Gale. That was one I used to use. I don't remember if it was any good. It's been so long.
I haven't really used many free, like, 2D art things in the past. I mean, the only one that I really remember was GIMP, which is not a good option. It's good if you have nothing better to use, but it's not great for art and pixel art and whatnot. It's more for, like, cheap photo manipulation if you don't have the money for Photoshop, or you don't want to, you know, sail the seas.
If you just want a map, or not a map, if you just want an app that lets you to draw on your phone, I use Ibis Paint X, and it has ads on it, but the ads aren't really that intrusive, and even if they are, you can just pay like $5 and get rid of them.
The Autodesk app's pretty good as well. I think it's Autodesk Sketch is free and doesn't have ads or anything, because I had that on my tablet at one point, and that was pretty decent. Also has the benefit of it being on a tablet. If you have a pen that works with a phone touchscreen, you can, you know, draw properly on it rather than just using a finger or anything like that. Honestly, the easiest way would be go to your search engine of choice and type in free pixel art program. And there will be at least 100 web pages with a top 10 list of which the best ones are, with links.
Honestly, it's what I did.
Yeah, so you get to, like, pick a few that look good for you, that, like, work with your machine, download them all, play around with them each, and see which one you like the best. That's the one, when you've got that many free ones, you aren't tied down to, like, say with Photoshop, it's industry standard. So if you don't like using Photoshop, you're kind of fucked. You've got to use Photoshop. However, with the free ones, and you're doing it for your own fun, you don't necessarily need to stick with the tried and true that everyone likes. You can fit with the one that you enjoy using. I mean, you can use Clip Studio Pro to do pixel art. You just have to, like, do a smaller canvas than you normally would.
I wouldn't recommend it, but
Oh,
use fucking Microsoft Paint.
yeah, you could use Microsoft Paint. You could use any program that lets you do art. You can do pixel art on. It's just some are. It's just some of them are made for the job. It's like Clip Studio Pro is made for drawing manga and doing animations and stuff like that. Whereas Photoshop, it's mostly for, yeah, doing, like, effects and photo manipulation. They're built for different things. So it really is going to be a case of, like, go find one of the top 10 or top 20 free 2D programs and play with them. See which one, you know, works for what you want to use it for. It might just be that there's that one that just happens to have a tool in there that you just absolutely love, that all of the other ones don't have.
I mean, for me, it's absolutely the Ace program, right? This shit is god tier. That might
And that's okay.
You are allowed to have an opinion that does not fall in line with others.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless that opinion is pineapple on pizza,
In which case, we are correct. Because pineapple on pizza is perfectly fine.
yeah, it is not.
Oh, it is.
I'm gonna judge the fuck out of you for that.
Oh, please judge. Please judge us, Ginger. It's not like we spend our entire life being judged for being British. And the level of quality of food we have.
The fact that it's pineapple. Any fruit does not need to be on a pizza. I don't think. When I think I want pizza, I don't think, ooh, I need to put some slimy fruit on this.
It's not the fact that it's fruit, it's the fact that it's acidic. That's why it works.
Put a goddamn lemon on the pizza. See what happens.
I used to put vinegar on the pizzas at school because it made the pizzas palatable. You know the really cheap, shitty school pizza you used to get.
This looks exactly like Ace, right?
Do you guys have actual salt shakers or salt packets at your schools?
I don't actually remember what we had. I think we had both. I think there was a salt shaker at the end of the dinner queue, so that once you finished paying, you could salt your fries or whatever you'd picked up, and salt your chips, salt your potato balls, and your various other potatoey goodness, and salt and vinegar your pizza to make it edible.
I asked because Michelle Obama did that.
That's because Michelle Obama believes the things that salt is. Yeah, salt is bad for you in large quantities, but you know what else is really useful for life? Salt. I would not be I would very much not be surprised.
This is gonna be like a hot take here. This is why I don't judge people if they eat their own boogers, just as long as you don't do it in public.
I'll judge you. Anything that leaves your body shouldn't go back into your body.
Like your mucus has salt in it, so
Name something that leaves your body that you should put back in your body.
Blood.
If your blood has left your body, it is
donated blood and plasma several times.
okay. Well, I donated a bunch of money to help vets, so
It's true. He did. I closed the dono for a while. I mean, I didn't want to keep it running on there and confuse people that were turning up. Oh yeah, I want money. Yeah, sure. But I think it was $15 off the $100 goal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to because
Are you okay?
huh? I like that Sentai just turned up in chat and just like potato balls.
Just got really excited. I'm sorry. You guys have wait, what did you say? Peanut butter ball or potato ball?
Potato.
Potato ball.
You know the smiley faces, potato things,
Oh,
like the frozen one. They're like called potato smiles or something. Think that, but just in a ball shape. So it's the same consistency inside, and it's just like the crispy outside. That's all they were. They were not. They were actually one of the better things that they gave us at the school cafeteria.
dude, I got sent to school with a fiver every day to fend for myself, and I did not buy any food.
you know what? I wouldn't have done it either.
To a coach, the dinner ladies would be like, copied this other mobile service, apparently. Like, Streamlabs just copies.
Create all you like, do is copy.
Yeah, that story I wrote was kind of an introduction for Connect One Power to be like, oh, what happened while we won in the polo stream?
And you go,
What happened is
terrifying things happened.
we made fucking long legs walk.
What happened is Chewie got bored and started 3D modeling the fucker.
You heard her panic at the disco, now get ready for yikes at the yard.
Out of Panic at the Disco, now get ready for long legs in your lungs.
Oh god.
Legs in your lungs.
No, that's lung legs.
Long legs in your lair.
Worst part is, even before we made long legs, we already thought about it being different types of them in the southern biome as well.
Yeah, there was there were 3 ones. Well, there were 2, and then I thought up another one yesterday. There's the long legs that we know, which is this forest one. There's a cave one that's like our version of a hook horror. It's sort of like,
I thought of another one too.
oh, okay.
I like the idea that in the northern desert, there's just these really chill ones that sort of travel, like pushing around like little stick piles that they live inside of. And they're like completely passive. Yeah, they're like just completely passive. Like they don't mind you being there.
I like that. I like ones that just vibe.
I just want a peaceful one, you know? Like maybe there's like a local custom, like you have to bow to them and maybe they do like a little wiggle.
Maybe they've realised that by letting the other things live, they will occasionally give them treats, and so it's like, well, okay, if we kill them, yeah, we get to eat now, but we don't get anything in the future. And so they've kind of they've basically they've kind of like semi-domesticated themselves, because they're like wolves did. It's like, well, okay, we could just eat the humans, but occasionally they throw us scraps, so we wouldn't get that if we killed them. Yeah, we called it the wolves bite.
So, Library Sprite is just an open source Ace Sprite, looks like, which is kinda nice. Yeah. Well, now you got your, Sprite sorted for you. I'm gonna keep using this one, though. I like this one. Even if there's no difference, apparently.
Oh, and got my music has changed over to something else, so we're gonna go back
Can we hear
to.
music today?
You should do.
Double check. Also, cheer if you have music on stream. I should have music on mine too, if not, it's gonna be really embarrassing if it's going fucking 2 hours.
I can hear it.
The Bomberman 64 soundtrack. Because Bomberman 64 was actually a really pretty cool game. People didn't like it at the time because it was very much not Bomberman. It was not like a square room where you have some things. It was more of an adventure game. But it was actually a fun game if you didn't have any idea what Bomberman was. Which I didn't at the time. So I bought it and played through it, and I really liked it. And it has a fucking awesome soundtrack.
You have an awesome soundtrack.
I miss the times when all video games had actual good soundtracks.
Atomic Heart.
I say good soundtracks.
No, Atomic Heart and Atomic have busted soundtracks. actually do this desert the way that I did, like good. It was coming
Like,
together.
good.
Yeah. Wasn't convinced I could make it good, but I've really sort of like narrowed down the shifting sort of sense texture. Those hills do look like domes, but like I'll cope with it.
Trying to remember how in the world the groups group. There we are.
Stay spray have filter. Yup.
Get out of my room, you dog.
Wouldn't have been able to do a lot of what I've been doing without a filter.
Well, you could have, but it would have been extremely painful.
Extremely painful. Watch the Batman movies at some point in time.
The Tim Burton ones?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
The ones where it's like, like each Batman is like a different actor because they did that for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think it might be in the new Titans show, which is also a pile of garbage. But this one section in it, Michael Keaton reprises his role as Batman, and he's awesome. He's awesome.
Oh, I know exactly which one you're talking about. It was the DC shows had this big crossover event. They wanted to do Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you know that story point.
Oh, it's in the Flash.
Yeah, it's in both. Like they had The Flash, Green Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, and Batwoman for a while. Rest in peace. And they bring back Michael Keaton's Batman, and they fucking butcher his character, but at least the actors have him.
Yeah, Keaton really wants to be there. It's like
Yeah.
when what's the name of the actor who played Luke Skywalker? Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill hated the new Star Wars movies, but he loved playing as Luke Skywalker.
He liked being Joker too.
He loved being the Joker, yes.
What would you recommend starting one of these worlds? When I started this world, I'll show you the steps I took because I still got the piece. What I did was I still like took an outline tool and to mark out the coastline, I just zoomed out and I went continent. You know?
Continent.
Yeah. And then like within that continent, I eventually went, okay, well down in this bit here, I want it to be mountains over there, I want it to be like a swamp here. So I've noted them like ice, like greenery, like darker greenery, foresty, black to be like volcano lands, beaches, rocky cliffs, lakes, cliffs, rocky shores. Like stuff that you'll recognize. What resolution are you using for that screen size? 3226, 2026. 3000 by 2000. We had to expand this because it wasn't good enough. But this was just like for drift. We eventually got around to like going over the edges. The main thing that changed between the first bit and the second bit is we wanted to make it look more sort of like natural and rocky. Don't forget to use your this by the way.
Yes.
Always
Also,
come down
just
here.
remember what layer you're on.
Yeah, name your layers. Unlike what I did with mine today, which was just not name your layers at all and just hope.
There are so many drawings that I've made that I've irredeemably fucked because I forgot what layer I was on.
I don't recommend this as the best way of making like fancy maps. But if you dig the pixel art aesthetic and you're willing to put like the patience into like doing this, because this is a project that will take you a long time if you want to make like a map this big. Just like imagine sawing. You have to like weave every individual like strand in and out and in and out the fabric over and over and over and over. And eventually you get a tapestry. That's what it's like with pixel art, except you have to put every single pixel down the screen.
It'll look great.
It will. Bitches love pixel art. Chicks dig pixel art. Is there a specific way you name contents? So one guy said he just takes an aspect of his world, translates it into another language. See, like, I could never abide doing that, because then you end up with stuff like River Avon.
Yes, the river. The river.
Do that with my worlds, but then other times it just like you literally just like come up with like you start with a letter, and then from there you like add on 2 more letters from that letter, and you make a sound out of that, and then whatever comes from that sound afterwards is your country's name. That's how I came up with Philippia.
I usually try and like follow my heart when it comes to naming things. If it ever gets hard, I go to like fancynamegenerator.com and like I take some inspiration from there for a bit, where I'm like, and it's not like I'm going there looking for the names. I'm looking for the name sounds, you know. Like if I make a kingdom in the air, I might search for like air elemental names on there, you know, like relevant stuff that sounds airy.
There's a dwarven kingdom in my world that is called Messing, and Messing is, I forget the language, it might be Bulgarian, but it means bronze, I believe.
Yes.
Type it in the Google Translate.
It's like, you got to remember a lot of the words that we have now.
It's just called Kingdom.
A lot of the words we have now are messed up versions of, like, the fact that like we have cobalt as a metal. The reason why it's called cobalt is because of kobolds from folklore. Because kobolds were a mine spirit who just happened to be in mines that contained cobalt. Or cobalt. And so we named the mineral after the folklore creature. So just mess around with words. I mean, you remember, all words are made up. Every single word has been made up by someone at some point.
No, yeah, George, I took a look at it just then when you mentioned it. Like, it is incredibly similar. Like, if I didn't check to make sure, like, I would have been like very worried that there would be copyright infringement going on. But no, it's fine.
On the subject of all words are made up, you are exactly right. Like the word turquoise, for example, that is just a butchering of the French like statement of turquoise, which is just Turkish quartz, because they've never seen turquoise before, so they just called it Turkish quartz.
Love that we fuck up like that. We just make a fucking word up that lasts generations.
Yeah, they're like, a bunch of French people went to Constantinople, or at least at this point it was probably called Stamboli, which just means the city. While it was under occupation by the Turks, and then they saw the Blue Mosque and the beautiful turquoise that was inside.
Turquoise. Hello, just now. You developing the world, baby? Hell yeah, we love to see it. I'm glad to hear about other people's projects while I work on mine. feel like we're all moving towards something, you know? Maybe sort of a small region of just one thing, or just a big empire union thing. Connected government, be connected lands. Okay, okay. I see, I see. Like Rome. It's a really basic empire, I gotta say.
Yeah, Rome's. The more you read about the Rome, the more you realize, man, it really is no wonder this place had civil wars every 2 years.
This one could not keep up. Like, it was destined to fall.
And it's not the problem that it was a republic, because then you have the Serene Republic of Venice, who only had one major revolt in the 1400 years that it existed.
It's just like Roman like rulers make bad decisions everywhere you look.
That and also the consulship was fucked from the start. That's how we got the triumvirate. You
Motherfuckers were
Caesar
like,
figured
we
out.
need to get...
Go ahead.
No, it's just the motherfuckers were like, we need to get guys to lead guys, so that we don't have to lead the guys.
Yeah. See, basically figured out that in order to rule all of Rome, all that he needed to do was become best friends with the most influential general in the Roman army, and then also become best friends with the richest person in Rome in general.
Wow. That's all it took.
That's all it took. He became best friends with Pompey, who was like the most famous general in Rome at the time, and then he became best friends with Crassus, who was the richest person in Rome at the time.
It almost makes it feel like these guys had it fucking easy. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, though. That triumvirate immediately collapsed on itself when Crassus died of disease when he was on campaign against the Parthians.
And Julius Caesar famously collapsed down himself. A bunch of knives went into him.
Should not. Honestly, look, he didn't do that.
Look,
I'm
as a
sure he
British
had
person, there's no
reservations
excuse
about
to
the
being mad.
stabbing. He didn't really get a chance to voice his complaints when 21 people were simultaneously stabbing him.
I read somewhere once that there was a guy who made this law, which was no weapons are to be brought inside the port at any point in time. And then Rome was being attacked once, and he rushed into the place, forgetting that he had a sword on his person. And he was like, "Oh shit! I just broke my own law." Took the sword out and fucking stabbed himself to death.
Oh, okay. I guess he stuck to his convictions.
Yeah, like honestly, kind of mental. He was like, "Fuck! I just broke my own law. Fuck! Stab, 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 stab."
Look, laws aren't black and white, dude. There's shades of gray. Oh, you already stabbed.
He's bleeding out. Oh god. Oh god. Oh.
That was right underneath his fourth liver. What? Fourth rib.
Fourth liver. We built different back in ancient Rome.
We had 3 spare livers.
Well, you never know when you're going to need them.
Really digging the biome so far. Managed to set up the forest and the shifting sands. Hard part's going to be working on the cliffs.
How does the jelly bean look now, Ginger?
life cycle at some point.
Look at you 3D modeling this. You do realize I can 3D print this now, right?
You do realise the reason I can 3D model this is that's what degree's in. A degree's in games design.
If you make the legs thick enough that they can survive the 3D printing process, I can 3D print this.
Well, see, all you need to do is, rather than having it like this, we just have to separate the legs into pieces and put them flat on the bottom, and then you print it and then just glue them together. It'd probably be better and probably be a lot easier to 3D print. Well, they'll still need to be thick, but if we did it like this, there'd be a hell of a lot of wasted plastic with all the support needed. Whereas if we like made all of the legs flat, you could print them all and then just like stick them to the side. Hey. And to prove just how amazingly talented I am and how amazingly lazy I am, the eyes are just spheres.
Yeah. What more do you need?
It's German 95 here.
Somehow I doubt. This aircraft has a very similar shade.
I don't know what the hell's going on.
Losing it, man? He's losing it. He's losing it.
Oh, you. Oh, you. Hey, 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 hey,
I don't agree with that set being all fell off.
hey.
I
You know-
personally
you know-
wouldn't drink weird substances from tubes.
I don't.
If you're wondering,
I
yes, you're in
hate
fact
how
making the D&D. Hey, I'd be doing that, but from inside of D&D world.
I hate how easily you were able to convince Glubleb to get out of his head.
It's okay. We're gonna put him in someone else's head.
We're gonna put him in someone else's head.
He's a being that deserves a right to live. We're going to put Gleb in someone's head.
You're gonna turn Glubleb into another party member.
If that's what Gleb wants.
Am I going to have to prepare for the eventuality that I'm going to be juggling, like multiple characters?
You may have to have that eventuality, yeah. I mean, if it's any consolation, as a DM, you're going to be juggling multiple characters at a time anyway.
Fair enough.
I like Tortilla's mostly along for the ride and shoots things. I get involved in this underground boxing, man.
Yeah, and then proceed to not box, but basically bite the shit out of our brother.
Oh. Tastes like a fucking coward.
You taste like bitch. Wilbur immediately goes into a rage.
He starts doing a haircut.
Everybody gags that the turtle does a haircut.
Tortilla fucking showboy.
There's so much shit I can do now that you've actually met another Dino.
Double Dino, double trouble.
Double trouble, especially because of Wilbur just being the hothead that he is. The stupid hothead.
How you doing? Hey.
What's your source for this, Wilbur? My source says I made it the fuck up, mate.
Sources, I lied.
Wilbur, you swore. I lied.
Shitty, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope the stream can bring you some comfort. In these trying times.
Can I interest you in an eldritch horror in these trying times?
My source is your mother.
Source it. I go into rage. I'll have a Coke. Is Pepsi okay? I go into rage.
Barbarian.
He's a fighter barbarian.
If Robin lives long enough to see himself become the proverbial villain, he's probably going to end up as a barbarian too.
Oh my god, how many things are you gonna multi-class into?
Well, that depends how long I live.
So you're a rogue fighter barbarian, is what you're planning
no.
on making yourself into?
I'm a rogue fighter, and depending on how long Robin lives for, he's definitely going to multi-class once. But like right now, all of the points going into like roguing fight.
Yeah, you have a lot of aspirations for Robin, and one of them is turning him into John Wick, essentially.
One of them is to have a trick gun.
What do you mean by trick gun?
Like Altair rocking up to the Assassin's Order once more.
I don't know what that means. Somebody translate that.
He had a gun.
Are you talking about a gun attached to your wrist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like hidden blades, but they're guns. Like the ultimate live handshake.
We kind of had that in real life. It was called the lemon squeezer.
Called the men's.
Yeah, it was shaped like a pocket watch. Like think of a pocket watch, but like super big, and it had a barrel sticking out, and you would hold that. You would sit that barrel in between your middle and not index finger. What is the finger that is next to your pinky?
Ring.
Your ring finger. You'd sit that barrel between your middle and your ring finger, and then you'd squeeze your fist really hard, and that would eventually make the gun go off.
Yeah.
It was not very functional. Though I do think somebody was successfully assassinated with it.
Now I think about it. It might almost make more sense for Robin to become an artificer. Depending on where the path goes. You know?
That's really the only way that you're gonna get more guns, is by finding artificers.
Or becoming one.
Or becoming one and making guns yourself. Or scouring the many ancient, extremely deadly, but very promising and rewarding ruins.
A gremlin, not gonna lie, looks awful. Couldn't even call him Fedlin. Knickle, you made that Knickle. Knickle, you made that gremlin, Knickle.
You made me. You made me what I am today.
Bob.
Father! Father! Why did you do this to us, Father?
You love me, Father?
Father, what is this form you gave me, Father?
Let me have more gruel.
Father, give me eyes.
Father, give me eyes. Make us whole, Father. Make us whole.
Father, take my eyes so that I may not see the creatures I have created.
Our Father who art in heaven, please take my eyes.
Hallowed be thy name.
Our Father, who art pretty cool.
Oh shit, I created the long legs. Oh,
Why?
this is my fault. I was the asshole who sat on call and created that thing by accident by just being like, oh, what if there was a big fucking spider that swooped down through the trees?
Yeah, we were just talking about salt things, or salt octopuses, and then, salt squids, shit.
Nick, we should really look in the group chat that you're in right now with us. Fucking face.
You really shouldn't.
27 seconds.
How's that?
Well, you see, Lindo hasn't been gotten yet. And, well, it's probably taken me 20 seconds for me to say this, so, Lindo's been gotten.
Okay. Where you remember?
Lindo's dead now.
Me when I'm the long legs and I'm just hunting in the forest.
You're my friend now. We're having soft tacos later.
You're my friend now. I'm going to eat you later.
And that's he doesn't say that you're gonna be the main filling of the taco.
Mummy, I made a friend in the forest today. I call him Mr. Leggy.
Mr. What?
Wait. What did you say, child? Mr. Leggy.
Finding a fucking long legs in the forest. Like,
Oh,
what's
it's
a
like
friend?
in fucking Far Cry Primal where the like little girl is like able to tame the bear.
Yeah.
Something
It's like,
like
to the rest of the fucking civilization, those things are fucking death monsters from hell. And to this little girl's like, it's the forest friend, because they're just like born with natural druidic affinity.
Well, you know how it also could just have the horror aspect. Like, you know how basically every single time you have a horror setting, that for some reason the demon doesn't attack the child, it just makes friends with it.
Yeah.
Also, I love how I just call the child it.
You don't know that gender.
Also, the correct way to talk about children is it.
That thing.
Thing over there, breathing.
The crotch goblin over there.
Barely knows how to stand.
There's a lot of words. Yeah, there's a lot of words.
I don't know where I am or where I'm going.
How I live my life.
It's 10 words. Imagine being one of those bitches in the fucking courtroom typewriter. Just like click, 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 click.
No, not only can you type at like 80 million BPM, but also like the moment like something stops, like you're recording recording. Yeah, sure, you're recording absolutely everything, including ambient conversation. And then when the judge is like, "Hey, can we go back like 5 lines?" You immediately just go back and be like, "Oh yeah, she said this. She sells seashells on the seashore." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Your Honor, the shells that she sells aren't fake. Seashells. I'm sure. Case closed. I couldn't do that one thing. typewriters aren't even typewriters. They are. Long legs are horrifying. You're gonna go shower now? That'd be my reaction seeing the log legs with the
The log legs.
long legs.
The log legs is one that when you give a long legs
A job in lumberjacking.
a job in lumberjacking.
Yeah. The lumber legs.
Salama lid.
Bit.
Salami lid ain't gon' fit. Won't fit.
So salami.
The salama lid.
The child it has been born.
Nakameko, you're just wrong. Help with that.
What would happen if I actually click on render right now? I haven't rendered something on this for a long time. Oh yeah, no camera found. That would be helpful.
You are on Stenogram? I got him. Stenograph these. God, I really should have added this detail in before doing this. Oh no. Repent. Let's be speaking speed, which is on the average. Wait. You can type at 300 words. No one can type 100 words per minute. No one can do that. DMix should be running out of music soon. Phonographs let people do that? Yeah, but it's still not happening. That'd be crazy. Humans weren't meant to type like that.
The hands were made for typing. Why am I German?
You're German.
Hey, German 986. What? Shut up.
He's a fraud.
Sorry, ass ginger snap. Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy? Something wrong with that guy.
But the
A newscaster said that about a child. There's something wrong about that guy.
Yeah, because there was something wrong with that kid.
No, there wasn't. That dude
The
was
kid
gonna
fucking said
that's
that.
it.
But would you like to know weather boy?
Why would you Kermit the Frog?
What the kid sounded like.
He says, "Would you like to know?"
be done.
Bye, will it be done?
Hey, check my screen real quick. Check my screen.
And checking your screen.
Switch over to your screen real quick.
You remember how I said? But like,
Oh, it's beautiful.
you remember how I said that our bio, right? We should have like 5 creatures.
Hmm.
Yeah, around that. You like 3 to 5.
I've been thinking, what if we had 5 unique creatures per sub area?
What do you mean by unique?
Well, like, I want it to be. I want us to like think about an area, right? Think about the forest area, and think about 5 creatures. And like these creatures can live here, or here, or here. They might even migrate here. You know. But what matters is we thought of 5 unique creatures. Because now that we're going on the full horror route, I really like the idea that we really flesh this out. Like the clickface, it's that like maybe a really unique wall climbing fish.
Wall climbing, what now?
A wall climbing fish. And maybe it's got some weird type of fucking mosquito. It just sort of like flies everywhere. Maybe that could like fucking spread out. Like those are 2 like creatures that could live here. I don't know, I'm just really down to have the world live like crazy full of life. You know?
Right. I think I might actually end my stream. I'm still going to carry on talking for a while, but my eyes are starting to get a bit sore, so I'm going to...
Want to do a little raid together? Because like I was about to ramp up.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm going to carry on with the call, but I can do a little raidy. And you can have a quick look at the last little bit of the stream as I did a little shitty render with some red light.
Who are you gonna be doing a little raid on?
Is around. Jazzy's online.
I do love that jazzy boy. Shall we?
We could do.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna beat her.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
Thank you everyone for watching. It's been fun as always. We'll see you next time. Say hello to the Zazzy for us.
Give him lots of love.
Bye bye.